Hello, fellow horror fiends, and welcome to The Horror Within Me, a podcast dedicated to the world of horror. Join us each week as our host explores a new, horrifying topic from the many realms of horror, such as film, television, and more, and returns to tell us his terrifying revelations. So sit back, relax, and get ready to face the horrors within.
What's up, everybody? It is time for another Spooky Sunday episode of The Horror Within Me. I'm your host, Eric. This week's episode is so special to me. It is my first ever Halloween episode. It is the day before Halloween, and this episode is going to be all about the Halloween film franchise. I want to make that, majority of them are to do with Michael Myers, but Halloween 3 does not, so I include that in this. Some may argue Halloween Ends does not, but we're not going to get into the debate. This is not what this episode is about. This is an appreciation of the Halloween film franchise, my all-time favorite horror movie franchise, and we're going to have so much fun. I have so much planned. We're going to talk about all 13 movies, my memories of when I watched them, things I can relate to. We're going to go through all of the IMDb and Rotten Tomato ratings and also give my own rating. We're going to rate the masks, the Michael Myers masks. We're going to have terrifying trivia. We're going to have fun facts. We're going to have a fun fucking time. So I hope you're ready, because I really have such a passion for this franchise, and I really want this episode to showcase that. And I want you as a listener to really gain something out of this, even if it's just a fun time for the next 30, 40 minutes or an hour or so, whatever this is. So with so much to unpack, we're going to dive right into it. Okay. It all started right in 1978, the very first Halloween movie, which was released 44 years ago this past October that we are now in. John Carpenter's Halloween is an instant classic, right? So let's just, before we get into all of the different films, I'm going to name them off. There's 13 films in the Halloween universe. We have Halloween, the original, Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, Halloween H2O, 20 years later, and Halloween Resurrection. That was the first 8 films, and then we have a remake by Rob Zombie's Halloween, and then we have Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, followed by the brand new trilogy that just concluded this past year, starting off with Halloween 2018, followed by Halloween Kills, and then finally Halloween Ends. Now, within those 13 films, there are multiple timelines, and this is something that I've seen many horror and Halloween fans try to explain to novice Halloween fans, I should say. People that aren't invested in the universe, people that don't understand, people that confuse Michael and Jason. These are things that the novice viewer wouldn't understand if they are not invested. So if you are not a diehard Halloween fan and you seem confused on how Laurie Strode has survived and been resurrected, or had a daughter and a son and a daughter, and all of these questions that you want answered, I'm going to go through really quickly and break down the many timelines of Halloween. Okay? We're going to start off with the original timeline. That includes Halloween, Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, and Halloween 6. Those films were the first timeline in the movie franchise. Then we have Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, a standalone film. So much so that it is, if you listen to my one podcast a couple episodes ago, I explained that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill wanted the Halloween franchise to be an anthology series. So that's how Halloween 3, Season of the Witch came in, right? It stands out so much from the rest to the point where they show the TV commercial and parts of the movie of the original Halloween in Halloween 3, because in that universe, the first Halloween movie is a movie, and Halloween 3 Season of the Witch has nothing to do in that universe. So Halloween 3 is its own timeline. people started to get, I guess, lack of a better term, bored with the way that slashers were going in the 80s. They all became so similar. You had the Freddys, the Jasons, the Michael Myers, the supernatural killers that just don't die and keep coming back, and they're doing the same thing. So you had to keep coming up with ways to identify it. And that's how we got, they didn't know what to do with after Halloween 6, The Curse. So what they decided was to scrap all of the films, right? They scrapped Halloween 4, 5, and 6, and they kept Halloween 1 and Halloween 2 and decided to make Halloween H2O. This Halloween H2O is only a sequel to Halloween 78 and Halloween 2. Anything that happened after Halloween 2 is non-existent in the universe of Halloween H2O. After Halloween H2O, there was a sequel, Halloween Resurrection. That is still connected to Halloween 1 and 2 and H2O. So in that timeline, you have Halloween 78, Halloween 2, Halloween H2O, and Halloween Resurrection. Then we have the Rob Zombie take on Halloween, which is just Rob Zombie's Halloween, which is a remake of the 78, and then Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which is very loosely only shows like a snippet of it being related to the sequel of Halloween 2, and it's its own entire kind of storyline in general. And then after the not so great success for the second Halloween from Rob Zombie, the rights went back to someone else, and that's when we get the most recent timeline in the Halloween film franchise, which is Halloween 2018, which picks up 40 years after the original 1978. Any movie after the original Halloween does not exist in this trilogy, in this timeline. It is only Halloween 78, then Halloween 2018, followed by Halloween Kills, and then finally Halloween Ends. Those are the multiple timelines. So if you're keeping up with me already, great. We got so much to talk about, and then we can dive into each film as its own kind of film and what we appreciate about each of the films, what we might not have liked about each of the films, and move on without having to explain different characters, what happened, and how they all connected. Now that you know the multiple timelines, we can move forward. But I have a very fun and special terrifying trivia question. So without any further ado, it is time for our Halloween terrifying trivia question. Okay, so this special Halloween trivia question is, in Halloween H2O, when Laurie's secretary, Norma, who's played by her real-life mother, Janet Leigh, is leaving work for the weekend, she gets into an old 1957 Ford sedan, which is a callback to what infamous horror movie that she starred in. So, I'm going to say it one more time. In Halloween H2O, when Laurie's secretary, Norma, who's played by her real-life mother, Janet Leigh, is leaving for the weekend, she gets into an old 1957 Ford sedan, which is a callback to what infamous horror movie that she starred in. Stick around to the end of this episode to get the answer. Okay, now that we have all the fun little trivia questions, timelines, all the fun stuff's been laid out, all the groundwork, right? We're going all back. Okay, we're going back 44 years, so stay with me, okay? Are you with me? Are you listening? Okay. Halloween 1978. Let's remember, it's really hard. We've probably seen it countless times, and after watching all the other films, our ideas of what Michael Myers and Laurie Strode and their storyline is, but if you erase and just think of that without, it's very difficult to do, but think of Halloween 78 before you knew anything about any other Michael Myers movie, or Halloween movie, I should say, because that's not the same. There's not Michael Myers movies. They're Halloween movies. Okay. You have a little boy at 6 years old on Halloween night in 1963 go up into his sister's bedroom and viciously murder her. He never speaks, and he's locked away for 15 years, only to escape the night before Halloween and begin stalking 3 women. We don't know why. It's never explained in the movie why. What an amazing, terrifying movie for its time. There's not a lot of special effects. There's virtually almost no blood. I mean, think about it. Michael does a lot of strangulation, a lot of things that don't require gore or blood. I thought it was amazing. I remember being so I don't know the words to describe the feeling of what I got watching Halloween, but it was so enthralling and put me in a trance. The score, the original Halloween theme song is so iconic. You hear it and you instantly vision Michael Myers coming for you. It's never good. And it's not just the theme song, the entire score of Halloween is terrifying. The chase score, Laurie's theme, all of it, the way that the camera moves, there's such a show for passion. And I love Jamie Lee Curtis. This was Jamie Lee Curtis's first film. She did an amazing job, right? So I think so. But what does the world, according to IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, think, right? Halloween 1978's rating on IMDb is a 7.7 out of 10 with a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is amazing. 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is 2022. This film has a 96% from 1978 on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb. That is a testament all its own. There's so many scenes I could talk about in Halloween. The scene of when Laurie is getting ready to go across the street after her friends have been murdered and she doesn't know and she's trying to get in touch with them. You know, as an audience member, what's about to happen. And I have been watching this movie as long as I can remember watching any movie. And I watched it, the last time I watched it was a couple weeks ago, the day that Halloween Ends came out on October 14th. I watched Halloween 2018, and Halloween Kills, preparing to go watch Halloween Ends. And I'm not even exaggerating when I tell you, it still makes my heart race when she's running from Michael, when she's going over there, when she can't get in the door. Nothing is going to change. The movie is a movie and stuck in its own time. It's never going to change, but it doesn't change the fact that it still gives me that dread. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just building up. There's so many things about it. And it will always be such an iconic film. I think as we continue to move forward throughout history, Halloween will be regarded as one of the best horror films of its time. But let's talk about something fun about Halloween, which I forgot to mention. But every single movie on this list, not only are we going to do ratings, we're going to do kill counts. And that doesn't mean just Michael. How many people or things were killed in each movie? Do you know the answer to what the kill count is for Halloween 78? Give you a second. I'll give you a pause for a guess. The answer for the kill count for Halloween 1978 is 7. 7 kills. 2 of them were dogs. One was in the Myers house, and then we have Lester. I think that's his name. The dog, the Wallace's dog. Poor Lester, German Shepherd. I was like so sad when I watched that dog die. But the rating system for every entry in this is fitting enough. Jack-o'-lanterns, right? What's a Halloween movie without jack-o'-lantern? Any Halloween movie. So we know the ratings for Halloween 78 was, like I said, 7 out of 10, 7.7 out of 10. God. Out of 10 for IMDb, 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. My jack-o'-lantern rating for Halloween 78 is a 10 out of 10. I said what I said. I don't care to hear your hate. It is for what it was. And I think it was on a $300,000 budget. It is terrifying. The music, the acting, the storyline, the suspense, the horror, everything about it is what makes a suspenseful slasher scary horror movie. That movie is almost flawless. If I had to pick a flaw in the movie, I think it would be Laurie Strode throwing the weapon multiple times. Why are you throwing the weapon? She threw the knife down after she stabbed him with a knitting needle. She threw the knife down after she stabbed him in the closet. Like, why are you still throwing the knife down? He ain't dead. And then he sits the fuck up behind her anyway. That would be my only thing that I think it's kind of fun to watch. And I wish I could have seen Halloween in the movie theater. I know they still release it here and there, but I never can catch it. And I'm always super busy on like the date or time, or it's always a weird day. Let's talk about Halloween 2. 1981, it was released. direct sequel to Halloween 1978 and continues on the same night of Halloween 1978. Still stars Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance. We can't forget about Donald Pleasance, who is virtually another essence of Halloween films, you know? Halloween 2, 1981 picks up directly after Michael Myers is shot off of the balcony, right? And they take Laurie Strode to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. And Dr. Loomis is in trouble, basically, for Michael and what has been summoned by whoever the fuck he's summoned by. So Nurse Marion comes to take him. And this is the movie, Halloween 2, if you're listening, is the movie where they introduce Michael Myers as Laurie Strode's brother. He was not her brother in Halloween 1978 that we were aware of. This was brand new information that was given in Halloween 2, released in 1981. This is the storyline that began Michael's out to kill his other sister. He killed Judith in 1963, and then now he's trying to kill Laurie. There wasn't much talked about how he knew anything about her, but doesn't matter. It's a horror movie. Some things we don't need a deep explanation for. I personally really liked Halloween 2 growing up with it. I liked the score a lot for Halloween 2. It's more like electric-y, and I love the introductions for the Halloween films with the pumpkins, and this one, the pumpkin's there, and then it's like splitting open with the skull inside. Jamie Lee Curtis is amazing. What I didn't like about her character in Halloween 2 was her wig. I don't know what was going on with her hair. Her hair just, oh, girl. From one gay guy to a female, your hair was a hot mess. I know that wasn't your priority after, surviving what you survived, but Jesus Christ, they could have done a little better. The funny things in Halloween 2, though, are you can tell it's gotten out of the stalking phase and turned into a cash grab. I don't want to say the word cash grab. It turned more into the let's kill people vibe. You know what I mean? The hot tub scene is fun, right? We love it when she keeps dunking the nurse over and over again and her face is peeling off. Who doesn't love that fucking shit in horror? But it's not the same vibe. They had definitely a better budget. Still terrifying though. And apparently the same mask was used in Halloween 2 than it was in Halloween 78, but was stored in a trunk or something of somebody's car or in a closet. That's why it looked a little different, but it was apparently the same mask. What was Halloween 2's rating? Let's look at it, right? So Halloween 2's rating is a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb and 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. 30%. I was shocked when I saw the 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know why I still use Rotten Tomatoes. I know it's a respectable review thing, but it just pisses me off. And I know you can go in and separate them, but I just like to see it as a whole. 30%. I didn't think it was that bad. I can agree kind of with the 6.5 out of 10, but 30%? Such a huge drop from the 96% from the previous film, right? So that's not good. It's not good. Is it the best film? No. The one scene that's fucking hilarious to me. Not hilarious, but yeah, you know what? I have a dark sense of humor. Part of probably why you listen to this podcast is because of past experiences and the way that I describe them. But fucking Jimmy, the character of Jimmy, that was super weird EMS kid that, first of all, if you're EMS, why are you sticking around the hospital? You got nothing else to do? When he finds the charge nurse dead, drained of her blood, and he goes around, slips and falls and hits his head. The fuck is going on here? There was a lot of blood. There's a lot of shit going on here. And then gets to the car because he didn't die yet. I don't know if he was slowly dying. I don't understand what was going on. But Laurie's in the car and he's dying, and she's looking at him like, Jimmy, and he just stops and dies. I don't understand. Jimmy, I don't understand what happened and why that was a part of this at all. Hospital scene was terrifying though, when she's drugged up and he's looking for her. The chase scenes in Halloween's something else you think of. They did them so well. Like I mentioned in Halloween, her banging on the door when she's trying to get in because she forgot the keys. It was reenacted again in Halloween 2 when she's trying to get into the hospital and Dr. Loomis is the one that opens the door. And we start to see more of Michael's strength than we did in the previous one. In the first one, we see him punching through the door, but in this one, he just headbutts the glass of the hospital and busts the whole thing open and comes in and gets shot multiple times again. So much fun. They just did so much with this. Nurse Marion yet again was there and just seemed to live. My rating for Halloween 2 It's similar to the IMDb one, but I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 jack-o'-lanterns. I thought it was fun. I didn't like Laurie's hair. I didn't mind the brother-sister storyline because I don't think I knew any much different because I'd seen them all blend together. I don't remember how old I was or what it was like to experience that, oh my God, moment. Because I don't know if at the time of watching the films, if they were in order. So I might have known that before. I might have seen a different Halloween film before I seen Halloween 1 and 2 that I can think of. But 7 out of 10, it's a great film. It's a fun continuation. The Mr. Sandman song, I still think of Halloween when that song comes on because it's like the opening credit. The opening scene is Mr. Sandman's playing when Dr. Loomis comes down and Michael's gone and the neighbor comes out. And right before the theme comes, I think the neighbor says a line like, "I've been trick-or-treated to death tonight." And Dr. Loomis is like, "You don't know what death is." And it's so dramatic. Donald Pleasance is great. It was so dramatic, and it just really gets your blood pumping because he just has that one line, and then the fucking iconic theme comes on. And I really enjoyed Halloween 2's score a lot. I'm one of those horror fans that listens to horror movie themes all October. I probably would listen to them more, but I feel like I'm judging myself a little bit to get me like in the creative flow of when I do podcasts or videos. I like to really get that heart pumping because let's be honest, none of the horror movies, almost no horror movie, especially these in the Halloweens, would be as effective without these scores, without the theme songs. And I like that they changed them a little bit each time, but kept it what the essence of it was, you know. But let's get to the kill count for Halloween 2, right? Let's just jump right to it. The kill count in Halloween 2 is 10. 3 more than Halloween. We got 10 kills in Halloween 2. So much fun. I say all the time, and I notice that's like filler words or whatever, but again, I am having a conversation with people and I'm having a conversation with you. I say the word I'm not trying to give the illusion that I'm perfect in any way because nobody's fucking perfect. I'm not creating a show or a podcast that's supposed to be perfection. I'm creating a conversation between me and you. And so I have pauses and I say, and I'm going to stop trying to figure out ways to go around it because it is what it is. If you don't like it, then this probably isn't the podcast for you anyway. That's like my own little ad in between. Let's move on. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Okay. I'm going to be very honest. Very, very honest here. I only watched Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, I believe once or twice when I was a teenager. Once as a kid, once as a teenager. Don't remember much, but I remember the mask. I remember certain things. So I'm thinking to myself, this was a rise in popularity, right? In Halloween 3. And then the whole thing that we'll get to eventually with Halloween Ends. I knew that I wanted to do this episode. So I needed to watch Halloween 3. So I actually just watched it today. Again. It's streaming on Peacock, by the way. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch was released in 1982. Let's do the ratings real fast first. The ratings on IMDb for Halloween 3 is a 5.1 out of 10 and a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. Halloween 3 has a higher rating on Rotten Tomatoes than the second Halloween film. So that's kind of interesting. So I'm going to be honest. I had poor memories of Halloween 3. So I knew, though, what my issue with Halloween 3 was when I was younger and I watched it. My issue with Halloween 3 was I was a young-minded person. I was a young child. I was a young teenager. And I couldn't understand the idea of Halloween without Michael Myers. To put it bluntly, I thought it was fucking stupid. But as a 36-year-old adult who, honestly, I like anthology a lot. Obviously, we just did an anthology episode. Sorry, I just ate a piece of candy corn and it felt weird. Which I don't want judgment for candy corn. I like candy corn. I like anthologies and I liked Season of the Witch. I'm going to say it. You've heard it here. Watching it today, going into it with a different open mindset and putting it as just a standalone Halloween film and not a Michael Myers film, because this is what I think the problem with it was originally. Not even that it had the name Halloween to it, the fact that it had a numerical number attached to it. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, implies that it's a sequel to Halloween 2, not its own film. If it would have just been called Halloween, Season of the Witch, I think people would have had an easier time digesting the fact that it was its own film within the Halloween franchise, not a sequel. But the fact that they put Halloween 3, they made it a sequel to Halloween 2 and had nothing to do with the previous films. In fact, the previous films were films within this new movie. So anyway, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Super fun, actually. I love the thing has been stuck in my head. It's been all over fucking TikTok. The happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. And I want the silver shamrock masks. My favorite one is the pumpkin. I enjoyed it. I thought the acting was fine. I thought the story was very interesting. Season of the Witch. I thought the guy, the Wiccans. I love the robots. It's so fucking 80s, guys. Like, it's such an 80s film. The effects, the lasers, some of the acting. Okay. Okay. Here's something that had me laughing. So, we have the doctor and we have the daughter of the one guy who we meet in the beginning of the film who gets killed. They're deciding to investigate his death and they are going to the Silver Shamrock facility, right? So they stop off at a motel to stay and plan it out. And he's like, oh, maybe I should get a second room. They lied and said they were, husband and wife. And I can't help but laugh because it's so forced. And it's just funny to me looking at it. It's just funny. Anyway, he's like, maybe I should get a second room. She's like, no, why would you do that? It'll break the cover because they said they're husband and wife. And he's like, well, then I'll sleep in the car. It's got to be better than sleeping on the floor. And she turns to him and she's like, where would you prefer to sleep? And he's like, you know the answer to that question, and leans in and they start kissing. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Is that what we're doing? Like we're doing like slight hints of 70s and 80s porn or something? What the fuck is going on? She's grieving. Her dad was murdered. She meets the doctor who was there at the hospital and is trying to get information about her dad. And it wasn't a long period. Like they had an agenda, and it just was such a switch that she was just like, you know what, come fuck me. Like everyone, like that was definitely written by a man. That was written by a man. That part, that scene particularly. I don't care. I don't feel like that had Deborah Hill on it at all. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I didn't realize they were robot men at first, and then I remembered, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're robots. And the tags were on the masks were the reasoning behind the commercial that they had, like something from Stonehenge. It is so fanatical. Like it is definitely an 80s movie. It is not a perfect movie. It is not a particularly like really good movie, but it's a fun movie. And I think like when you do anthologies, the stories are fun. They're not always executed to the best abilities, but that's fine. That's some of us don't need the, elevated horror. It was a fun movie. I liked it. And I actually halfway through knew that I was enjoying it. And I have a collection of all the Halloween films on Blu-ray, and that's the only one I don't have yet. And I went on Amazon and I ordered it, and it's actually on sale for like $9 right now on Amazon. So if you also are looking to own Halloween 3 Season of the Witch on Blu-ray, go get it from Amazon like now. My rating of Halloween 3, I had to think about because like I said, it wasn't fair for me to give it a poor rating or without rewatching it with a fresh pair of eyes, taking it away from Halloween as a Michael Myers film. I think for me, my rating for Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is also going to be a 5 out of 10 jack-o'-lanterns. The IMDb is a 5.1 out of 10. I also give it a 5 out of 10. Not for any reasons of it not being Michael Myers, but because of the inconsistencies of the story. And I still was kind of confused. The ending was fucking epic with him, the ending with the doctor trying to tell them to take all the commercials down after they killed the people. But I didn't understand. I felt like it was rushed to end and it wasn't executed properly. And it took away, like, I didn't understand how Ellie became a robot. There was a lot of things that they just did. I feel like they just threw different elements of science fiction and horror into a movie and then forgot to develop more of a story. Like the previous two movies had a fully fleshed out beginning and storyline. Everything was going on. They answered those questions, except for why Michael did what he did. But actually, because he was trying to kill his sisters. Season of the Witch has a lot of flaws, and I think if it was revisited today, should be flattened out and ironed out. I would like to see a Halloween 3 Season of the Witch just to piss people off, for the cult people that love it. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna be a part of those people that are gonna be fans of it, but that doesn't mean that my rating is gonna change. Kill count for Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, surprisingly, is 17. 17 people for Halloween 3. That's super interesting to me. It is the same amount of kills if you combine Halloween and Halloween 2 in one film. All right, guys, we're going to talk about Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, which was released in 1988. I have such a special place in my heart for Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. It is one of my all-time favorite horror movies, one of my all-time favorite Halloweens, and there's something about it. I think it's nostalgia mostly. Watching it growing up, I loved the character of Jamie Lloyd. In the previous Halloween films, Michael was stalking the teenage babysitters, right? Halloween 4 picks up 10 years later after Halloween 78. And we come to find out that Michael Myers survived in the fire that him and Dr. Loomis survived the fire at the end of Halloween 2 after they exploded the gas can. Somehow they burned alive, and he survived. We come to find out that he's being transferred, of course, the day before Halloween, because why the fuck wouldn't he be? Like, why do we keep doing this? Leave him where he is until fucking the day before Christmas or something. Like, let's give him a new holiday. Let's see if he still acts the same. Michael with a Santa hat. No, don't ever fucking do that. Please, don't ruin that for me. But no, Halloween 4, we are introduced with a new family member. I'm guessing Jamie Lee didn't want to come back or whatever the case is. They just kill her character off. Supposedly she died in a car crash, but she has a little daughter. Her name is Jamie Lloyd, played by Danielle Harris. You heard me talk about Danielle Harris before. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. She's in a foster family. She has a foster sister named Rachel. She lives with the Carruthers. Michael Myers hears that he has one surviving family member, a niece, and that's what wakes him up out of his coma. So much fun about Halloween 4. It really gives a big Halloween night vibe. The trick-or-treating, the costumes, even the opening credits don't play the Halloween theme. It's very eerie with like scarecrows and corns, like fields. It feels like October. It feels like Halloween. It feels chilly. It's cold. We actually don't hear the Halloween theme for Halloween 4 until they are transferring him, which is kind of the opening scene, but it's not the opening credits. There's so much. One of my favorite scenes ever, and I put it on one of my TikToks in Halloween 4, is when Michael kills Brady in the sheriff's house, and Jamie and Rachel are running up the steps in the attic, and Rachel's such a protector of Jamie, and they get on the roof. She's on her back, and Michael. Okay, somebody commented on my TikTok, and I want to share this with you because I had the scene up there. So it was like, I am dead on the way he's climbed up the roof. I always thought that was fucking hilarious, by the way, just putting it out there, when his little leg slips over the top and he like is getting up and he's just like walking the slanted fucking roof that Rachel has been like nail scratching, can't seem to move. Jamie's too heavy kind of vibe, but kudos to her because Rachel was like focused and staying calm during this pursuit, trying to make sure that she gets Jamie safely off the roof. What a fucking tense and stressful fucking scene. It's almost like the new way that they did the open the door kind of thing. Like they know that he's coming and oh my God, they're going to get off the roof, but so fun. And also let's talk about the fun thing that I used to think about all the time is, the sheriff's daughter, Kelly. That's a bitch, right? Wasn't she sleeping with Brady, Rachel's man? She got shotgunned through the stomach. He had a gun and he's like, what do you want to do with this? And he's like, just pushes her through the door and she's hanging there. That was fun. What other kills? He crushed Brady's head. He did a lot of fun kills in Halloween 4. I also liked that if anyone remembers in Halloween 4, because I know there was a lot of issues with this and kills, it's touched on in 4 first with the angry mob from 1978. They are upset about what he did, and they're like getting around people to go out and kill Michael. There was an angry mob. They ended up killing someone else. So I just want to put that they didn't have the Evil Dies Tonight chant and all that fucking shit, but there was a mob. And let's talk about the ratings. So Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers, rating from IMDb. It's a 5.8 out of 10 and a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. It breaks my heart that it's a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a lower rating than Halloween 3, and I don't agree with that. I think Halloween 4 is a fucking classic. I think it was, let's talk about the mask. This doesn't look like Michael Myers, but he had some padding too going on in the shoulders and stuff. I mean, he bulked up in the 10 years he was in the coma, but I understand that. But I thought it was so fucking fun. It was really scary and it was fun, especially when he reached his hand under the bed when she was dreaming. Jamie was dreaming and he grabbed her foot. That's a child's worst fucking nightmare. I still get scared. I said to my husband last night, falling asleep, my arm was hanging off the bed, and I don't even have anybody to get under my bed because there are drawers. And I still said to him, I asked him weird shit all the time. I'm like, do you sleep with your arm hanging off? He's like, no. Nobody does that because no matter how old we are, we always think the boogeyman's under there. At some point, somebody might be down there. That's like a fucking fear we will live with forever, I'm sure. But my rating for Halloween 4 is an 8 out of 10. It didn't get a 10 out of 10. The mask, some of the other things just weren't that great. But I loved Halloween 4. I will always love Halloween 4. I love Danielle Harris. I love Jamie. The character of Jamie was my favorite final girl. I even liked her more than Laurie for a long, long, long time. I met Danielle Harris. I have a signed thing on my wall, photo of her from Halloween 4 on my wall. It is just iconic. I had a toy growing up. I was a disturbed child. My favorite toys as a child was a skeleton. I probably said this to you guys before, and avid listeners are probably like, we fucking know. But I'm going to tell you again anyway. It's a rubber skeleton, and I named her Jamie after Jamie. I would also reenact scenes as Jamie. My sister used to make fun of me. Like, we grew up in such a fucked up environment. There's no better way to put it. It was abusive, verbally, physically, mentally. Everything about my childhood is so weird when I think about it, because when I say that it was fucked up, it gives the impression that I didn't love my parents. I don't know how else to explain it. I'd never gone to therapy, but the horror movies and the scary stuff just always was like an escape. Halloween 4 and the Halloween films in general were a big part of my escape and my survival from my real life horrors. Because, like my mom was my favorite person in the whole world until she drank and became very violent. I did not like my dad. I don't remember liking my dad until closer to my mom dying. And he died 5 years after that. He, to me, was just not a good man. He was abusive physically. And it was just, it was a bad time. So the Halloween films, I think maybe that's why I love them more than I can't understand how other people don't. But that's the thing with people like me and you, if you have trauma and some people watch horror, some people don't. I think that the escapism into these worlds taught me ways to learn from these characters. Like I said, I studied these things. But anyway, Halloween 4, one of my favorite ones. The kill count. Let's talk about the kill count. Let's raise the mood. It got real dark there for a second. Let's have a little bit more fun. Kill count for Halloween 4 is 16, one less than Halloween 3, but significantly more than Halloween and Halloween 2. So, it's not that bad. Moving on to Halloween 5. Okay. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, was released 1 year later in 1989. I'm going to jump into the ratings right away because there's no point on sugarcoating this or getting around it. It's a 4.9 out of 10 on IMDb and a 12 fucking percent on Rotten Tomatoes. 12 fucking percent. That is, at this moment, the lowest fucking rating that we have gotten to. And I understand the hate. I guess. I fucking love Halloween 5 and all of its flaws. It's like that family member that you accept. Like, you are allowed to talk shit about them, but nobody the fuck else better talk about that family member. That is Halloween 5. My biggest fucking problem with Halloween 5 is the death of Rachel. I loved Rachel and Jamie's dynamic. I think it was a huge mistake to kill her off. I can even appreciate needing to kill her off, but they should have done it differently. They killed her off in the beginning, in the daylight, in a dumb way. She got stabbed in the chest with a pair of scissors when she was home by herself getting ready to leave with her parents for the weekend. At this point, it's been a year later. Jamie's in a child psychiatric facility or clinic or something like that because she touched Michael. Now she's not speaking anymore. Rachel's afraid. He comes back and he kills her. I would have appreciated more if Rachel was in the movie longer and would have died protecting Jamie this time around. What a heartbreaking scene to watch. One of my biggest things was when Jamie finds Rachel upstairs in the attic in the Myers house dead. And she had that moment of realization like, fuck, I am in this by myself. But I jumped through the entire movie. We have the introduction of Tina, which I just posted the scene from Halloween 5. One of my favorite fucking chase scenes in horror is the scene when Jamie and Billy finally get to Tina and Michael is already in the car of her boyfriend that she killed, whose also name was Mike. And she realizes it's Michael Myers and he chases her with the car. He chases all of them. He runs Billy over. It's so intense for me. People hate Tina. She was so fucking goofy and carefree, but like, think about it. She was a teenager. She didn't experience anything that was going on. She was just having fun. She was one of those goofy teenagers. Like, why are we hating on her? I feel like while she didn't technically, she didn't live up to Rachel's standards, but she did try to protect those kids. And it's shown in that scene with the car because after Billy said, Michael's chasing Jamie in the car. The first thing Tina does after that is check on Billy, and he's hurt, very hurt, but she hears Jamie screaming. She knows she has to go to her, and she is killed protecting Jamie. I feel like that would have been a better death if it were Rachel this time. Rachel jumping in front of Michael for Jamie would have had more of an impact in that scene. Somebody commented too, like, did you see the knife bend? I'm like, yeah, I saw the knife bend. It's kind of fun. Another issue is, what the fuck was that Victorian house in Halloween 5? What the fuck? That had no resemblance, people. They don't care. They didn't give a fuck. You could tell. They're like, make another one, make another one, make another one. Like I said, this movie came out a year fucking later. They're just like, let's just make another Halloween film. They didn't give a fuck about the mask. They didn't give a fuck. There was not a lot. And the weird man in black with the hat and the and the fucking machine gun busting him out of prison. There's a lot of flaws in Halloween 5. I understand that. I'm not going to sit here and say they weren't, but the opening credits for Halloween 5 were some of my most, this is going to sound so fucked up, fondest memories as a child. Me and my best friend, Amanda, who I grew up with, would watch Halloween 5 all the time. And in the opening scene, like, act stupid and fun and crazy during the stabbing sounds and the carving of the pumpkin. And it picks right up from Halloween 4 with the car scene. I love the opening scene of Halloween 5. I wish, like I said, I didn't like the man in black. I wasn't a fan of how they killed Rachel. I loved the house chasing with Jamie and Michael. It was very intense, especially when Dr. Loomis is holding her and he's like, catch a little girl. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's coming down the stairs. That shit scared me. It scared the shit out of me. And she looked terrified. So kudos to Danielle Harris because she was amazing at that age to be in these movies and doing this. And I heard there was this, like, she's in the vent climbing back up, that when she gets stabbed in the leg, it was visual and they had to cut it because it was too gory and it was like actually showing a child get stabbed or something. So they had to take it out. But I loved Halloween 5. My rating for Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, is a 6 out of 10. I said what I said. Maybe there's a couple points in there for nostalgia. I really enjoyed it. And the kill count number in Halloween 5 is 15, one less than Halloween 4. So we have a pattern here. We have 16 in Halloween 4 and 15 in Halloween 5 and 17 in Halloween 3. But only 7 in the first one and 10 in the second. So if you're keeping score, that's where we're at. Moving on to Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Oh, God. Now, this has like its own following. And it's like what's it? I've never seen the director's cut. I can't get my hands on it. I need someone to send me the director's cut. But all right. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers was released in in 1995. The rating, oh God, Lord Jesus. I can't believe I got to read this. The rating for Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, is a 4.7 out of 10 on IMDb and a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. A fucking 9%. It didn't even get double digits. It's got a 9%. I've seen some bad movies. I don't understand why this has a 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. Paul Rudd was in this, by the way. Fun fact, which we have a bunch of fun facts. I'm going to just throw that one out now. Not just about Halloween 6. But anyway, I ramble. I'm rambling. Are you still with me, guys? Are you still listening? I hope you're still there. Halloween 6 has a special place for me because I was 9 years old, and it is the first Michael Myers movie, brand new Halloween movie, that was released when I could remember and be able to go and see it in the movie theater. Remember, the last one before that was Halloween 5, which was released in 1989. That made me 3. I don't fucking know. I didn't think I saw them yet. So Halloween 6, I remember that it was getting ready to come out. I was ecstatic. I'm like, fuck, my little 9-year-old heart couldn't take it. The theme was playing on the trailer. I'm like, we have to fucking go, Mom. We have to see it. Please take me. Please take me. It was the first Michael Myers I've ever seen on the big screen. I couldn't wait. We went to our local mall because it still had the theater, and right across from the theater was an arcade. So we were sitting in the arcade, and I'll never fucking forget this. I will never forget this. So for those of you who don't know me personally, I have 2 older sisters and I have a younger half sister, right? Who my younger half sister was put up for adoption, an open adoption when she was born. So I wasn't raised with her. And she was when I was 14. So I'm 14 years older than her. So growing up, I grew up with 2 older sisters, one who is 6 years older than me, one who is 4 years older than me. We grew up in an urban city. We were like one of 2 white families on the block, but we got along with everyone. It was like a small community of everyone was a family. My mom was like the neighborhood mom. People were always stealing sodas and shit. Anyway, my one sister's boyfriend was black, and they're still together to this day, and they have their three kids together. So 2 of my nephews and my 1 niece are by my sister and this man. So they met when they were very young. So anyway, my mom was always very close with everyone. She brought him with us to see Halloween 6. And do you know that the movie theater refused to sell my mom a ticket for my sister's boyfriend because we were a white family, and it was all of us. It was my mom, my dad, my 2 sisters, and me. And my sister's boyfriend, who's black, refused to sell a ticket for him because he wasn't our kid, and they couldn't prove like the age. And I didn't understand it at the time, but what fucking bullshit is that? And I threw a fit because I'm like, I want to see the movie. He decided he would stay in the arcade while we saw the movie, which was nice. But that's so fucked up. Fucked up, America. Get your shit together. We're not doing any better. We're actually going backwards, but this isn't an episode about that either. We're going to keep moving on. But I just wanted to share that with you because it's an unfortunate thing that I have in my memory, and it's so fucked up that they did that. So we go see Halloween 6. My biggest issue that I first noticed was the character of Jamie was played by somebody else. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Who is that? That's not Jamie. That's not my girl. I was in love with Danielle Harris, not in like, sexual ways or anything like that, but like her character, her performance, her rendition of Jamie, everything about her was Jamie. This new person was not, and I was confused on like, she was pregnant. Was she pregnant with Michael's baby? Like, I didn't understand. I don't know why they're doing this, but I didn't care either because it was also a Halloween film and I wanted to watch it. And the mask was definitely an upgrade than Halloween 5. I skipped right over Halloween 5's mask because I can't. I liked Halloween 6. Paul Rudd plays Tommy Doyle. I was like, oh, that's interesting. They're bringing back Tommy Doyle, who was the little boy that Laurie babysat in 1978. Michael kills Jamie in a barn, which I was very upset about. Like, even though I didn't like the new actress, nothing against her. I was a kid. I didn't like it. I wanted Danielle Harris. It made her death easier for me. So I'm like, it wasn't really Jamie in my mind anyway. They move into the Myers house, which now looks a little bit more like the Myers house than they did in the previous one. They just keep picking whatever the fuck they want. The storyline was interesting. The curse of Michael Myers. They explained that he had the curse of Thorn, and that is why he is out to kill his whole family. And now he's hunting Jamie's baby, who is now in the possession of Tommy and this Kara Strode, who's like a cousin of Laurie and Dr. Loomis. We find out that one of the doctors from Smith's Grove is the Man in Black, and it's tying up all these questions from 4 and 5. You know, it really is trying, and the previous ones, but it's not executed well. And the chasing through Smith's Grove was fun, but I also really liked the play on Kara's son Danny with the Man in Black trying to get him to also kill and like transfer like the curse onto Danny. That was an interesting take. And like I said, the Curse of Thorn, the Curse of Michael Myers is not by far one of my favorites, but my rating for it is a 5 out of 10 jack-o'-lanterns. I give it a 5 out of 10 because, like I said, it's not my favorite. There's like, I didn't like that they replaced Jamie, and I recently watched an interview somebody had posted with Danielle Harris explaining like she tried to come back and there was like she had to pay legal fees and they only wanted to offer a little bit of money and they were just very rude to her. And I'm thinking like this is the same shit that everyone's been dealing with all the time. Women in movies look at the same thing with Neve Campbell and Scream. Like, why are we not giving these characters that are carrying the movies? This is what we go to see. Are these characters not played by different people? These men in power, man, they have these prides they cannot swallow. Give the people what they fucking want and put them in the movie. The fans are going to pay you back. You're going to get more than you invested in this film if you pay a little to do it right. So anyway, Halloween 6's kill count is a 16, which is the same as Halloween 4, one more than Halloween 5. And unfortunately is the last movie of Donald Pleasence, who died recently after filming Halloween 6. So, you know, I think it was dedicating his memory. And let's just take a moment to remember Dr. Loomis's character and Donald Pleasence, who brought such performances to the Halloween films. Halloween 1, Halloween 2, 4, 5, and 6. He was the main character pursuing Michael, and he did it so well. And it really struggled. They like to make another one without him, and these stories is why I think we ended this timeline. I don't think they knew how to move forward without any of the family members or Dr. Loomis. Which brings us to the next film, which is Halloween H2O, 20 years later, which was released in 1998. This is the first time, and it was confusing to me at first. This is the first time, aside from Halloween 3, but in the Myers universe, that they scrapped all the previous films. They're like, you know what? Fuck Halloween 4, 5, and 6. We did a thing. We don't know how to continue from it. Let's just continue from part 2. And they bring back Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode. And they continue with the brother-sister timeline from Halloween 1 and 2. Halloween H2O's rating on IMDb is a 5.8 out of 10 and a 52% on Rotten Tomatoes. I thought that Halloween H2O would have had a higher rating because, I mean, people raved about it. Halloween H2O, it was literally 20 years from 1978. It was redone in 1998. We see a Laurie Strode where they kept the storyline of her faking her death. She moved to California. She has a son, played by Josh Hartnett, and she's the headmistress of a private school. She's an alcoholic. And it's our first look at Laurie after the events of 1978 and what it has done to her. She has tried to move on because she didn't want to be associated, but she was still an alcoholic, and it's our first glimpse at trauma in the Halloween verse because we don't get a chance to see a lot of returning characters with character development. And Jamie Lee Curtis is someone who can really show that. It was so fresh, right? It was so different. Such a fun way to bring Michael into this area because at this point we've had 2 Scream movies, which changed the face of horror and what it used to be, as opposed to the Freddys, the Jasons, and the Michaels. It changed it up. So H2O found a way to be fresh and relevant in that. And I thought it was so fun. I love the theme. I love the opening where they're in Haddonfield with Nurse Marion, and he comes and kills her looking to get information on his sister, Laurie Strode. I thought when he finds her, it's so much fun. It really took it back to the roots in a sense. And the iconic fighting battle with Laurie and Michael, and everyone knows how this one ends. It ended so beautifully where she decapitates Michael. There's like, in all the other films, people know like Is he dead? He can come back. Is he really dead? They really try to give a final ending here where there's no way he's coming back from this. We're done. Jamie Lee, the character of Laurie Strode has been running from him, hiding from him for 20 years. He finds her and she's running away with the kids. And then she has that moment where she's like, I can't run anymore. And she decides to fight. It's the first time we see Laurie decide to really come and fight. And she's looking for him and she's ready. I thought it was so fun. My rating for Halloween H2O is an 8 out of 10. I really, 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 really liked H2O. I love the comedic aspects. I love the dark aspects. I like the storyline. I like that it picked up after Halloween 2. Although I did not like his mask that much, and I didn't like that you could see his whole eyes and everything. I mean, if they're going to pick up after Halloween 2, they should have continued to make him look burnt because he was burned the fuck up, but they didn't. So I had an issue with that. But I overall really, really loved Halloween H2O. And here's a fun fact. The Halloween H2O kill count is 7. It is the same kill count as Halloween 1978. 7. It kept it simple, and that's what I mean. It did more of a story, it did more of an arc, and it didn't focus that much on the just these brutal kills. But that brings us to the next one. Okay. Halloween Resurrection. I have to sigh. Halloween Resurrection was released in 2002. Let's just talk about the rating. The IMDb rating is a 3.9 out of 10 and a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay. Well, let me tell you what bothers me. How the hell does Halloween Resurrection have a higher rating on Rotten Tomatoes than fucking Halloween 6? I'm sorry. I know Halloween 6 was fanatical and it was a little, whatever the case is. It was not better than Halloween 6. Halloween Resurrection was not better than Halloween 6. I don't give a fuck what you say. Halloween 6, oh, Jesus Christ. Halloween Resurrection picks up a few years after Halloween H2O, and we come to find out that it wasn't Michael Myers that Laurie decapitated, but yet a paramedic whose larynx had been crushed. And now Laurie Strode is in a mental institution with a Raggedy Ann fucking doll. Wait, I apologize. I'm trying to be serious. I'm trying to hold it together, but this one is hard. This is fucking hard. I just want you guys to feel my pain. She's got a fucking Raggedy Ann doll and a picture of her son on the wall. And Michael somehow, after he stabbed it and falls off the fucking balcony, he wakes up and kills the paramedic, puts his mask on him, and then leaves. And the paramedic is the one for some reason who, all right, let's go back to H2O. When he's in the body bag and he's moving, and then he finally slips out and he jumps and she slams on the brakes and he flies through the windshield, rolls, gets up anyway. She runs into him with the fucking van. He's holding on tight and then falls for dear life. They fall off and then gets trapped by the van, right? It made sense in H2O for that to be Michael. But in the Resurrection, when they try to tell me that it was a fucking paramedic who survived that shit, he would have been dead. He would have been reaching out for nobody. He would have been dead when he went through the fucking windshield because normal people who weren't superhuman Michael Myers don't survive those things. That's why, he can kill people with a single stab to the gut. They just die instantly. But this paramedic was super strength. He had his larynx crushed through windshield, run over, and his back, spine, and everything crushed by a fucking van. But he was still going strong. And instead, he's just grabbing his head like he don't know how to take a mask off. I don't want to hear it. That was my issue. Michael somehow gets a new mask, which looks angrier somehow. Where are people finding these Halloween masks that look like him? Anyway, breaks into this psychiatric facility in California to go after Laurie. She's ready. She's waiting. She fights. She runs on the roof. She's ready for Michael. She knows he's coming. She knew that it wasn't him because they told her. That's why she's had a break. And the guilt of it all. I don't feel like that would have been on. I wouldn't have had guilt. Is it just me? I wouldn't have had guilt. I'm like, well, what the fuck? I didn't know. Like, I'd go to therapy, but I wouldn't be in a psych ward. But I'm not Laurie Strode. Anyway, she gets him on the, gets him hanging and suspended over the roof, ready to kill him. She gets the knife. She's going to cut it. And he starts grabbing his head. Second issue. Okay. Michael left, right? Was he supposedly in the woods watching Laurie kill the paramedic? Because at that point, he could have snuck up on her, killed her, then alone in the woods, and then took his mask back. He didn't have to wait for fucking years. But anyway. he does somehow knows what this guy's doing that triggers her to think, oh my God, I have to be sure that this is really Michael, which how the fuck you gonna know who he is if you take the mask off? She's only seen him once in 1978. It's been fucking 23, 24 years. But anyway, for a split second, she saw him anyway. She's gonna take the mask off. She's gonna know what he looks like. And he grabs her, and it's a trap, and he stabs her in the back, and then she does a weird kiss, says, I'll see you in hell, and then does this weird, ugly fall where anybody else pay attention that she doesn't move and then like doesn't bounce or anything. She's just like a picture that they're slowly zooming out from that's already laying on the ground, and just it's just so fucking stupid. And then we get to the real storyline, which is Dangertainment with Busta Rhymes and Tyra Banks, who I like Busta Rhymes, love his music. It's nothing against that. I didn't like him in this. It was too much comedy. Anyway, they bought the Myers house. They are rigging it up, and they have 6 lucky people who get to spend the night on the infamous Myers house looking for clues on why he was the way he was. And they have cameras rigged everywhere because it's on webcam. And they're all attached to the webcam because they want the internet to watch. It's a cool concept. Don't get me wrong. Probably ahead of its time for 2002. It just wasn't good. It wasn't good. Oh God, the cringy fucking karate kick chop thing that Busta Rhymes does. He's like, whoa, like what? I can't. And then he's like, trick or treat, motherfucker. I can't. It is comical. It is so comical. Oh, what else did he say? Michael Myers is the killer shark. It's just so bad. The dialogue is so bad. And the acting is not good. It's not good. And it is my least favorite Halloween. I genuinely don't like it at all. And that's all the time I'm giving to this fucking episode. I'm going to finish that, or this, giving to Resurrection for this episode. My rating is a 2 out of 10. I don't even know why I gave it a 2. I gave it a 2 because I feel like it had you know what I liked about it? I liked the opening Halloween theme, the song. Thought it was interesting. I thought it was fun. I liked it. That's all I liked about Halloween Resurrection. Literally, that's it. Kill count for Halloween Resurrection is 10. 10 people. All right. Fuck it. The failure of Resurrection put a nail in the coffin for Halloween. You know, it made it through the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and it died. It was supposed to be Halloween Resurrection in the millennium in the 2000s, and it died. It killed it. Rob Zombie. Really quickly, let me tell you about me and Rob Zombie. I've said this on something else before. When I was 12, I went through a Rob Zombie phase when he released his album with Dragula and Living Dead Girl, and I went through a fucking rock phase. I was so excited. I'm like, oh my God, Rob Zombie is remaking Halloween. I was ecstatic. You couldn't tell me shit. Rob Zombie's Halloween came out in 2007. It has a 6 out of 10 rating on IMDb and a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes. All right. Oh God. My problem with Rob Zombie's Halloween is that they try to do too much backstory. There's way too much going on with Michael Myers in the beginning. I don't need to know why he's the way he is. And I don't like saying the word white trash, but that's what I think of. Like white trash take on the way the family is. Like I honestly liked Michael's mom's character. You know, she's a mom, she's a stripper. She's like there's elements. I hated the sister. It just was cringeworthy. But I love the score. I love the mask. I thought it was fucking hilarious though when he kills his sister as a child and puts on the fucking Michael Myers mask. That shit was huge on him. How'd he see? I am Scout Taylor Compton, and we bring as Laurie, and we have Danielle Harris back in the Halloween films, but as Annie Brackett. I thought it was super fun. I thought it was just a little too it just made me cringe. There were aspects that I just didn't like about it. But I didn't hate it either. I could watch it because it's his own way, his own vision. And it's kind of like you expect to see that in a Rob Zombie film, these certain things. And so if you take away the fact that it's a Halloween, because you don't want a carbon copy, and he did certain things that were stay true to Halloween. I hated the new Loomis. But I enjoyed once we got through a lot of that to the third act when he's killing people and he's chasing Laurie and they end up at his house. That whole final scene. I loved that. I thought it was so fun and fresh and scary. I really enjoyed that. I think for what it was, it's not the worst entry. And I think that I have a respect for Rob Zombie staying true to his work and what he wants to do. And he has his following of people that are going to watch it. My rating, Rob Zombie's Halloween, is. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? 6 out of 10. Yes, I did. I gave it a 6 out of 10. I rated it the same as IMDb because it deserves it. And I don't think it was the worst. Rob Zombie's Halloween's kill count, though, is a 26. 26. I think at this point, that is our biggest kill count in any Halloween film. Yes. Yep. 26. Which brings us on to the next film. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Rob Zombie's Age 2, released in 2009. This rating is a 4.8 out of 10 on IMDb and a 23% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was still excited when they announced Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I was like, okay, let's see what he's gonna do. Like I got over the shock of the quote unquote white trash aspects and the whatever the case may be. And I like that they didn't kill Annie. And Daniel Harris was coming back again, and the sheriff was Brad Dourif, who's the voice of Chucky in both. So I was very interested. And then they go ahead with this fucking white horse and him making noises when he kills, and his mask and with the beard barely having a mask on. And I had a lot of issues with that. And that was not for me. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? It was so far off. It's as a Halloween film, and its very own film was completely different. I think if these were the first 2 Halloween films, I would have been different for me. I wouldn't have liked them as much for certain aspects still, but I think he just really took complete creative work on this one. It was so fucking different. I hated what they did to Loomis. But I liked the Laurie and Annie. I hated what they did to Laurie. I hated the way that she became like this raging whatever the fuck she was. But Annie's character I liked. I thought was more relatable. I really enjoyed that, and I liked when the scene when she's dying was very heartbreaking and hard to watch. But other than that, I didn't like the movie, and is my second least favorite Halloween film ever, opposed to Halloween Resurrection. And I'm gonna continue on, and my rating for this is a 4 out of 10. I liked that Daniel Harris was back. I liked certain aspects of the film, but I ultimately just didn't like it. The kill count in Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie is a 25, one less than his previous film. So then we have some years pass, and Halloween is quiet. And we might think that's the end. We're not going to see another Halloween. We have entered the territory of elevated horror. We have like Insidiouses, we have Paranormal Activities with found footage. There's just like a lot of different kinds of horrors, and not a lot of slashers. Like I think the Friday the 13th remake was in 2009. The Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie was in 2009. The Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which was an epic fail, was in 2010. So the old movies were not performing well. People were over it. They didn't want to do the same thing anymore. They wanted this fresh take. We had the Conjurings, things like that. Whole different world of horror we have entered. So we think that we have finally put to rest these boogeymen that we love. And then David Gordon Green decides, and Blumhouse, let's do a Halloween movie. And then they announce Halloween 2018. Not only did they announce a brand new Halloween film, they announced a brand new Halloween film, and they brought back Jamie Lee Curtis. This was a pivotal, important decision in this franchise to bring back Jamie Lee Curtis. And they decided, let's take away all of the previous Halloween films, remakes, sequels, everything, and make Halloween 2018 40 years after Halloween 78, because it's technically 40 years apart. But let's even scrap Halloween 2. That also didn't happen. Let's scrap the storyline of the siblings altogether and strip it all the way down to what the original film was. They got John Carpenter back on to produce, like act as an executive producer. And Halloween 2018 was born. And I was so excited, and I love the idea of exploring Laurie Strode 40 years after what happened to her in 78 and trauma. The trauma is what attracted me most, aside than it being a Halloween film, because of my own traumas as someone who tries to navigate the horrors that I have experienced in life and have struggled with and continue to struggle with to overcome. I thought I had such a connection to it. And when I went to see it, I liked it a lot. It was different though than what I was expecting because, it wasn't done the way that other Halloweens were done. We had Laurie set these traps. I love Judy Greer. Love you, Judy Greer. I love you. Andy Matichek as Allison. It was so fun, but it was different. I really, really, really liked it. The rating on IMDb of Halloween 2018 is a 6.5 out of 10 and 79% on Rotten Tomatoes. 79%. I think that aside from the first Halloween, that's our largest percentage of all the Halloween sequels. It is so far, yes. Halloween 2018 redefined Michael Myers and reintroduced Michael Myers to a whole new generation of people. And it explains the backstory. He was captured in 1978 and locked up for the last 40 years. But they have to, like, how's he get out? Again, he's being transferred on Halloween. There's certain elements you have to keep. Jamie Lee Curtis was just amazing as Laurie Strode. Did such a good job. I loved everything about it, even though it was different. And John Carpenter and his son Cody Carpenter, and I think Danny Levy's, I'm not sure how to say his name. The score, oh my God, was so fresh and familiar, like it used to be. I loved it. Had such an atmosphere. I have it on my Halloween playlist. I love the score. I love the pumpkin in the beginning again, the fonts, everything was so much fun. Love Halloween 2018. I can't think of anything else to say other than my rating for Halloween 2018 is a 9 out of 10. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And the kill count for Halloween 2018 is 18. Isn't that ironic? As I say it out loud, 18 kills in Halloween 2018. So a little more. They upped the ante. He'd been locked up for 40 years, so that motherfucker went on a rampage. He just was walking in everybody's house and just attacking. He grabbed a hammer, went in one lady's house, who I thought was an old lady, but there was an infant. He went in the other girl's house. She's shutting the blinds. He's shoving a knife through her neck. He was just like, fuck, I haven't killed in so long. He was catching the fuck up quickly. And then he was like, all right, I can slow down a little bit, and then ends up in the closet of Julian's house and kills Allison's friend. But I thought it was so fun. I liked that they also made it that his new psychiatrist had the obsession and that Michael wasn't after Laurie, but they only crossed paths because the doctor brought them together. That was so much fun to watch. We move on to Halloween Kills, which I remember the announcement for Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends at the same time because they ended Halloween 2018 like it was the end as well. And it did really well, and they planned a trilogy right away. And the announcement was that Halloween Kills was to come out in 2020 and Halloween Ends was to come out in 2021. But COVID hit and a lot of shit got fucked up, and we just, you know the story. So Halloween Kills, we had to wait a year. And I'm like, I was so pissed off because I was so excited. I'm like, how are they going to do this? How are they going to do this? How's he going to get out? Like, I'm in fucking fan theories. I'm looking into shit. And Halloween Kills eventually comes out in 2021. The rating for Halloween Kills from IMDb is a 5.5 out of 10 and a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is a significant drop, almost a 40% drop in the ratings from Halloween. And I get it. A lot of people hate this film. A lot of people hate this film. And I don't really know why. I know they cringed because this whole Evil Dies Tonight, and they bring in so many legacy characters from 78. We got Kyle Richards back as Lindsay. We have the character of Tommy Doyle back. We have the Nurse Marion back. We have the same three Strode strong women: Laurie, Allison, Karen. Sheriff Brackett's back, which is one of the scenes makes me laugh when the mob's running through the fucking hospital and he's like, Tommy! Like, it's just hysterical. But also touches on Halloween 4 with the mob and intensifies it. And I can see that shit happening in one of those little Midwestern towns. I know a lot of people don't want to say, they say, I don't want to see so much reality in horror. Why? We've seen other shit in horror. Why can't we see another version of things? We have all these other versions. I thought the mob was so annoying. I hated Tommy Doyle so much. The Evil Dies Tonight thing, they all piss me off. And that's why it's fucking amazing. Because it's meant to piss you off. Things like that you're not supposed to watch and feel good watching. It's supposed to invoke agitation and frustration and anger. Because that's the whole point of the mob mentality. God, no. Halloween Kills was so much fun, and to me, out of the three new ones, felt the most the most like a Halloween film. The hunting, there was one of my favorite scenes is the Lindsay chase scene when he goes and he's killing Marion and the fucking, okay, did they really have to do that to the nurse? Anyway, he's killing the nurse and the doctor, and she comes up with the bag of bricks and she's fighting him. It's just such a great scene and great score. I love the reintroduction of the Myers house, the story of he wants to go home, the reenactment of 1978 of him getting captured. There's so many amazing parts of Halloween Kills to pick up on the same night from Halloween 2018. And Laurie's in the hospital. So we have our front seat driver of Allison out hunting him with her boyfriend Cameron. We have Little John and Big John, and who are the gay guys that own the Myers house, which is very fitting because let's be honest, gays, I'm a horror gay. If my husband was also a horror gay, we would probably be actively looking to purchase a murder house. Let's be fucking honest. It's what we do. We like it. And they did good with that house. And let's point out how he, posed them in the picture, like after he killed them. But my problem with Halloween Kills was the end. I was disappointed when, they kill Karen. I was upset. I liked Karen. I liked the three women, the three generations. I liked the dynamics, but I understood. I knew she was going to die. I knew that at this point there was a trilogy and that one of the women, it was unlikely to survive. And out of all of them, made the most sense for it to be Karen because it wouldn't be Laurie. It wouldn't be Allison, who's the newest, youngest person. Who had a relationship with Laurie. It made sense that it's also tragic that her and her daughter had such a strained relationship because of Michael Myers and what happened to Laurie, that her idea was true, and then they could start to build on it, and then she's killed, and they never get to repair that relationship. It's very sad. But the score, love the opening. Really liked Halloween Kills. My rating for Halloween Kills is an 8 out of 10. I know that a lot of people are going to say that I am being too generous, but this is my rating. I love it. I thought it was very fun. I think it's a great movie to watch at Halloween time. And one of my favorite Halloween masks, honestly. I loved the way that they did the Halloween mask. Halloween Kills, this kill count. It's 26. 26. So that topped or matched Rob Zombie's Halloween. And now we come to the final entry of the Halloween films, which is Halloween Ends, that was just released this October 14th. The rating so far on IMDb is a 5 out of 10 and a 41% on Rotten Tomatoes. So it has a higher rating than Halloween Kills on Rotten Tomatoes and a slightly lower rating on IMDb than Halloween Kills. All right, Halloween Ends. What do I say? I had to watch it twice. I went to the movies to see it and I enjoyed it. But I was so shocked and not expecting it. When the blue font came up, I'm like, this is different. I was waiting for the iconic orange font. When the Universal sign was popping up in the very beginning, I was waiting for the eerie music, and it was not that. I knew right off the bat that this was going to be different. I knew it. But I didn't hate it. And if you haven't seen Halloween Ends, it's streaming on Peacock and it's in theaters. And I am going to say certain things about this that you should stop listening at this point or fast forward to the next part. Anyway, the introduction of Corey Cunningham, the love story between him and Allison bothered me, but then watching it the second time, I liked it even more and I understood it. I thought it was so different. I only really thing I didn't like, I don't mind the Corey and Allison story. I don't mind the changing shapes of evil. What I don't like the most about Halloween Ends is the weakness of Michael Myers. I understand he went through a lot in Halloween Kills, and he's been hiding in a sewer for 4 years. It's still, I wish that they would have still kept him to a certain amount of strength and a little bit more in the film. And that's all I'm really going to say much about Halloween Ends, because like I said, it's a lot of spoilers. I don't want to get too much into it because it is one of the newer ones, but I think you should go and check it out. I think that it ended the trilogy beautifully. I love the little flashbacks of the older films. I love that, watching Halloween 78, then 2018, then Kills and Ends. It feels complete, and I liked the way they tied it up. My rating for Halloween Ends is a 6 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, and the kill count for Halloween Ends is 15, significantly low. Actually, the lowest kill count in this trilogy. It had less kills than Halloween 2018, but also Michael didn't kill everyone. I think he killed 3 people in Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends. But that is all 13 of the Halloween films. My favorite timeline is the newest David Gordon Green timeline. I love the exploration of trauma, what it does to people, what it does to a town, what it does to everything, the shapes of evil, and how that can. I just love everything about it. I thought it was fresh. I thought it was fun. Aside from this timeline, my other favorite timeline, mostly I think for nostalgia purposes, is the original one from Halloween 1 and 2, 4, 5, and 6. I will always love it. It will always have a special place in my heart. And that is the ratings and the reviews for all 13 Halloween films. At this time, I would like to answer the terrifying trivia question. So, I know it's been a while. If you're still with me, let's revisit the terrifying trivia question. Terrifying trivia question for Halloween was, in Halloween H2O, when Laurie's secretary Norma, played by her real-life mother, Janet Leigh, is leaving for the weekend, she gets into an old 1957 Ford sedan, which is a callback to what infamous horror movie that she starred in? And the answer is Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, which was released in 1960. This is also, her name being Norma is another callback because in the movie Psycho, Norman Bates' mother's name is Norma. And also, when she's getting into the car, you can hear the Psycho score theme song playing, like not theme song, but like the song when her character in the movie was driving after robbing her job. It's the same music. It's like slightly hint like in there. But that's the answer to terrifying trivia. I thought that was a lot of fun. And we're going to end the episode with some fun facts that you may or may not know from Halloween films. All right. So this is one of my favorite things. And a lot of people probably don't pay enough attention to this, but this is fun. Okay, ready? Halloween 1978 was Jamie Lee Curtis's first film. Halloween 4 was Danielle Harris's first film. Halloween H2O was Josh Hartnett's first film. And Halloween 2018 was Andy Matichek's first film. Each one is released a decade from the previous entry. And each actor has gone on to become very well known, respected, done well. But I thought that is so much fun. Think about it. Every 10 years when they reintroduce Halloween, they introduce a new actor. I think that's so cool. Another fun fact is that the original Michael Myers mask, which most of you know, but I have to put it out here for a Halloween episode. The original Michael Myers mask used in 1978 movie was a Captain Kirk mask that they spray painted white, made the hair darker, and cut the eye holes bigger. Because they didn't know what kind of mask it was, that or it was going to be one of those like sad clown faces. Which, can you imagine if Michael Myers was a sad clown face? No, it would not have the same effect. Next fun fact. Out of 12 Halloween films to include Michael Myers, only 4 actors have played the role more than once. They are Nick Castle from Halloween 78, and he was in 18, and I think he was a couple times in the other 2, but not as much. George P. Wilbur, who was Halloween 4 and Halloween 6, Tyler Mane from both Rob Zombie Halloweens, and James Jude Courtney, who's in the newest trilogy, Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. So out of 13 movies, only 4 actors, or out of 13 movies, 12 movies, only 4 actors have portrayed the role of Michael Myers the most. Next fun fact is something for the newest film, that the blue font in the opening credits of Halloween Ends is the same font used in Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Knowing that, if you haven't seen them all yet and you haven't seen Halloween Ends yet, take that, and that should give you some information about, what to expect type of film for Halloween Ends. Next fun fact, aside from Jamie Lee Curtis, the only other actor to be in the most Halloween films is Danielle Harris. She played Jamie Lloyd in Halloween 4 and 5 and Annie Brackett in both Rob Zombie films. That's totaling 4 Halloween films. Jamie Lee Curtis appeared or starred in 7 Halloween films. Halloween 1978, Halloween 2, Halloween H2O, Halloween Resurrection, and the newest David Gordon Green trilogy. And finally, for the last fun fact, the actress that played Annie in the first Halloween also plays the ex-wife of the main character in Halloween 3. And those are some fun facts from the Halloween film franchise. And to end this week's episode, let's rate my rating and my ranking of the Michael Myers masks. And I'm just going to go through this quickly. Here's my rating from best to worst. Starting with the best, starting with, we have the 1978 mask, followed by Halloween Kills mask, followed by the 2018 mask, then the Halloween Ends mask, followed by Halloween 2 mask, then the Rob Zombie's Halloween, then Halloween H2O, then Halloween 6, then Rob Zombie's H2, then Halloween Resurrection, then Halloween 4, and lastly, Halloween 5. That is my rating and my ranking from the best to worst Michael Myers masks. And that concludes this very special episode of The Horror Within Me that is dedicated to Halloween and the Halloween film franchise. This was so much fun, and I hope you had as much fun as I did with this episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have the happiest Halloween filled with horror, the fun kind. It's a lot of spooks, make spooky shakers, have fun at parties, be safe, dress up, have a horror movie marathon, and let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know if you agreed. As always, please rate and review the episodes and the show. It just really helps me out. But that's the end I'm going to say about that. You all know you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and YouTube at The Horror Within Me. But that concludes this. Like I said, stay safe. But more importantly, guys, stay spooky.